All right, Ryan. So we woke up to, well, first of all, on a good note, on a high note, there was a very, I'm assuming it's a very good article on Jonquel Jones, ESPN headline on that news tab today under the WNBA. So, Ryan, don't miss that. Jonquel Jones wants to be the face of the WNBA. She's the reigning MVP. So it's titled Jonquel Jones and the Untold Story of the WNBA's reigning MVP. I'm going to try to read that tonight. That looks like it's a very interesting article. So I didn't want you to, it's actually the cover story. So I didn't want you to miss that. I wanted to make sure that you caught that. I think that you would enjoy reading that a lot. And again, she's only 28 and it says she's earned almost every on-court accolade that there is. So you know how good Jonquel Jones is. I don't have to tell you. I know that we have seen her before, pretty close. I think up close and personal. I got you way down there. So she was almost, you just reach out and shake her hand. So I mean, yeah, we've seen her up close and personal, and the damage that she can cause for other teams.
Yeah, very, very phenomenal player. And yeah, I was just about to say, I saw the article this morning. I'll have to read that tonight as well. But I was just about to say, I know we saw her that one time at the Mystics game when we were down real close to the bench. So just a phenomenal player. And she has another shot at probably winning MVP again this year, playing another phenomenal year. But yeah, I mean, hopefully maybe one day we can see one of these UConn Husky players have the type of impact Jonquel Jones is having.
And it seems like it's happening too often. On a low note, as we woke up coming from Maryland, we had to reach out to his family, his friends, his loved ones, his children, if he did have any. Our prayers are with all of them at this time as the Ravens mourn the passing, Ryan, of outside linebacker Jalen Ferguson out of Louisiana Tech, only 26. And we learned of his passing last night.
Yeah, it's a real shame because it seems like there's a lot more NFL players. I can remember a couple. Marion Barber, I believe his name was, for the retired Cowboys running back, passed away earlier this month or last month, and I believe that there was a couple other retired NFL
Well, how about it? Then you
players
had
that have passed away.
Then you had the player the guy who used to quarterback for Washington, and that was they drafted him out of, I believe,
Dwayne Haskins.
Dwayne Haskins. So that was another name that's gone too soon.
Yeah, a lot of NFL players have passed away this past year. So prayers up to all their friends and family. And yeah, very, very surprised to see that news this morning about Jalen Ferguson. Not sure what quite happened yet. I believe it's still a developing story, but yeah, it's just sad to see.
Yeah, and we talk about so many times, Ryan, how we remember them just as athletes, specifically athletes. Let's not forget what they meant to so many off of the football field, off of the court. A family man. It might have been, I'm not too sure if he had children or not, but he may have been, a loving dad, a husband, a son, a brother, a friend. So let's not just forget, when we look and see these headlines today on ESPN, on CNN, Fox News, on CBS Sports, right? I mean, it's more to it than just an athlete.
Yeah, it's more to it than just being like, who are the Ravens going to replace him with a linebacker? There's a lot of, people that it affects, that are within his circle as friends and family. So, yeah, it's definitely a lot deeper than just sports.
Moving on to the UConn Huskies. That's what we're really here for, Ryan. The UConn Huskies. And we'll dive right down on into it. This series, this is actually the second video of this series. And we're here to talk about Jamelle Elliott. Seems like another class act. Ryan, what do you have on this assistant coach, as I know our followers have been looking forward to, especially Iva, looking forward to this series as we hit on our second video.
Yeah, I'm enjoying this series so far. You guys seem to join the first one with Morgan Valley. We had a lot of fun doing that one, so we'll continue to roll down the list of these coaches and then on to the players. But today's Jamelle Elliott entering her 15th season as an assistant coach for the Huskies. She was previously on the staff from 1998 to 2009. With her time there at UConn, she helped UConn win those 5 national championships along the way. And then after that 2009 season, Elliott joined the Cincinnati Bearcats to become their head coach until 2018. And then after the 2018 season, she came back, and I believe she interim for a little bit for UConn. And then Gino finally signed her for the 2020 season. And of course, she is returning this season. So glad to have her back. She also played for UConn for 4 years, like Morgan Valley did, graduated in 1996. Elliott's 4 years on the team. She never missed a single game. I found that very interesting. That's pretty impressive. And with her time on the team, she had a 117-18 record, the Huskies did, in her 4 years. She finished number 2 all time in rebounds, number 11 all time in scoring for UConn, and she was also number 5 in the Big East for career rebounds. So like I mentioned, not missing a game all 4 years, pretty impressive. And she has some amazing stats as well that she posted in all those years for UConn. So, but most importantly, obviously, we're talking about her coaching. It is her coaching experience. So 15 years as an assistant for UConn, and then those 9 head coaching years for Cincinnati. So I know a lot of people are excited to have Jamelle back for this season, and she did great last year with the team, so hopefully she can have another impactful season and many seasons to come for UConn.
Yeah, very nice job, Ryan. And we talked about the trend that we saw. Gino loves to bring back former players,
Yes, he
and
does.
it's nothing like it, right? I mean, when you again, we talked about it. I mean, you could be very smart in the mind. We get it, intelligent when it comes to any kind of sport, breaking down film, knowing where the ball is going. Before the stab, Ed Reed. No, I'm just kidding, Ryan. But no, with that said, really, I mean, it's not all the time the physical performance that you put out there on the floor. It's also a lot up here. It takes a lot of game time studying, a lot of film watching. With that said, we talked about it, Ryan. And I think that you think that they have the edge too. I think it's always, I don't really know of a time or situation where you can really, question, especially if they're intelligent, but also if they have that background knowledge of actually playing, the experience.
Right.
Yeah. I don't see how you can ever turn down somebody applying for a job, a head coaching or a assistant coaching job, rather, a head coaching job, especially when you pair them two together, when you have playing experience and you have the intelligence. And unfortunately, I mean, sometimes, most of the time, you need both. They're not going to take you if you only have one or the other. That's just the way I feel. So yeah, it's very, especially when it comes to coaching. We talk about, yes, it ultimately comes down to what happens on the floor with the players, but I mean, coaching's big. It's big.
Yeah, and it's very important to build that kind of bond and relationship with all the players and helping them out, not only on the basketball court, but off it, in terms of making sure they're getting all their classes done and stuff like that, and making sure they're working out and their diets right, and all that kinds of stuff. So there's a lot of stuff that goes into being an assistant coach, and Gino can't always run up all the plays and help out all the players and tell them where they need to be. So I think that's why he prefers for his assistant coaches to be already players on UConn or past assistant coaches, and hiring them back after they got to experience another team. They get extra experience, but they've already been under Gino and under the same system, so they already know what to expect. Gino already has a relationship with all these assistant head coaches, so they already know what to expect out of each other. And Morgan Valley, Jamelle Elliott. They already kind of know they can help out the players a lot and kind of tell them what to expect, especially for the new players.
Well, here's what we don't expect Ryan to know any of these comments coming up. So we're going to read these comments to him on the last video, UConn Huskies assistant coach Morgan Valley. And then how about the KK Arnold interview, Ryan? We appreciate her for coming on. That was fun. I think that was our very last episode. We'll have to get the comments on that one maybe down the stretch here. But again, we want to thank her mom and her family for making that interview come true. And it looks like everyone enjoyed that. So thank her again, KK Arnold. Thank you so much. So UConn Huskies assistant coach Morgan Valley. Here's the comments for Ryan, only for Ryan. And here we go. Iva, finally the series is here. I have plenty more ideas when you are done. Gino did say he likes to have a former player as assistant coach because they know how the program works and they can help players to see what is expected from them. Having 2 assistant coaches that won championships can help a lot. Having all these coaches with a lot of experience and healthy roster this season can be unforgettable.
Completely agree. Yeah. And we'll get into Chris Daly probably tomorrow. I know she's been on the team a lot of times and won many national championships, but we'll get on to her. And Jamelle Elliott winning those 5 national championships as a coach from 1998 to what was it, 2009, I believe. So it definitely helps a tremendous amount, especially when you get to go to the March Madness tournament all those years and experience winning a championship. It just brings so much more to help out the mindset of all these players and getting their mind right to get ready for all these games and bigger games down the line in the season.
How about David Lee? Please don't forget about legendary strength and conditioning coach and my boss, Andrea Hudie. I'm not too sure, Ryan, if I even saw that name on the active roster as far as coaches go. But we definitely, yes, I apologize, Ryan. She's under the, looks like under the support staff. And as director of sports performance, Andrea Hudie rejoined the UConn Huskies basketball program as the director of sports performance for women's basketball in May of 2021. So we won't forget her, Ryan. Go ahead and shout out to her. We
won't forget her. Shout out to her. We didn't really talk about doing the other
support staff.
It's the supporting staff, but shout out to all of them as well. They all have very important jobs. It's not just the coaches you see on the bench with the players. It's all the people, like we have to say, behind the scenes doing all the extra work and also helping all the players and coaches be better at their jobs.
Sarah Doris, Carly Mooney, Andrea Hudie, Janelle Francisco, Ellen Tripp, Benjamin Cantor, Peggy Myers, Kiki Russell, and Nia Beverly. So how about that? We have all the names in, Ryan. It's
got them all in. Got
them all. Next one, Tom Kibbe. Looking forward to your new series on the coaching staff and individual players on the roster. Jamelle has serious head coach experience. In fact, Gino was particularly ticked off when she was let go by Cincinnati, making a point of criticizing them for that. A quick point on non-conference scheduling. Contracts with other schools usually are short-term, home and home, for instance. So while we might like to see certain opponents on the schedule all the time, they may disappear from time to time. That's why UConn usually announces the complete schedule at one time, except for specific dates such as the Hall of Fame game. Gino has talked in the past about the difficulty of fitting in particular opponents.
Yeah, well, I saw where Jamelle, she reached those 2 NCAA tournament bursts with Cincinnati, and then she got let go. So I bet Gino was a little surprised at that. And I'm glad he hired her back on the staff. But it kind of is interesting with the schedule because I honestly never really knew how it worked in terms of getting all the dates and times and trying to determine what all the opponents are, especially for non-conference, because obviously it's easy to play the teams in your conference. You already know what your opponents will be, but I wasn't really sure how they kind of decided who the team would play for non-conference opponents. But I believe we did go over all of those in the past episodes, but yeah, I saw where Maryland, it's only 2-year contract, so this year will be played in Maryland. Next year it'll be played in UConn. So yeah, I mean it's kind of interesting to see how they make up the schedule and kind of determine what teams UConn will play.
Yeah. And then JHE to cap it off today. How about the new coach of Stanford? Is it true that Van Devere is retiring?
I'll have to, I don't know. We'll have to look that one up. I did not
Well, I'm
see
looking
any
here, Ryan.
news.
Stanford legend Van Devere knows retirement looms. That was back on March of 22. March 16th, 2022. Looks like that was a mercurynews.com. So maybe that, hey, rumors always loom in sports, right, Ryan? I mean, that's just what happens in sports. Let's just break it to everybody now, huh? I can't tell you how many rumors since I followed the NFL, any sport. I can't tell you how many rumors, how much news, and I'm sure you can relate. How many things you hear that never come true.
Yeah, well, especially being a Cowboys fan in the NFL, I can relate to. I mean, it's every time a player gets released into free agency, I get an article on my phone about the Cowboys are going to sign this player, and then they never sign him. But
Yeah.
I'm sure for Van Devere, that was probably a question that came up after they got defeated this past season in the NCAA tournament. Is probably said in an interview, and I'm sure, I mean, she's getting older as a coach, so I'm sure, retirement's probably in the back of her mind. But I haven't seen an article yet where she has officially retired, so we'll have to keep an eye on that one.
All you had to do is mention the word retirement in a press conference, in a post-game press conference, and they're like, oh my gosh, that's it. This is it. They're done. Isn't it? Whether it's a player, a head coach, assistant coach. So, but how about don't say the R word, Ryan? I won't say the R word, which is retirement. Let's say, because now people are going to think that you're retiring off this podcast. So please don't leave me.
Yeah, no rumors, no retirements.
All right, it's Phil and Ryan on Listen Up. Ryan, I'm retiring just for today. How about that? And we'll be
Yeah,
back
that sounds
sometime,
better. Yeah.
sometime later in the week, maybe next week. We'll see. But for now, hey, let's retire on out the door. Phil and Ryan on Listen Up.